Hello everyone and welcome to Modernizing Old Hymns number 10. 9 lessons of I am trusting thee, Lord Jesus is enough. Let's move on to a new hymn today. And let's move on to a new key too. The key is going to be the key of C, C major. And the hymn will be hymn number 407 in the Lutheran hymnal. Farewell, I gladly bid thee. There's actually 7 hymns in the hymnal that used this melody called Neander. The one I probably sing the most is All Glory, Laud, and Honor. I chose this one because, in case you're curious, this is the translation of the original German from the year 1613. Okay, now, if we're going to play in the key of C, we need our formula again. We're starting on C, of course, and we go up to the 5th note, C, D, E, F, G. So G or G7th will be the 2nd chord. If we're playing a 2-chord version, those will be your 2 chords. For a 3-chord version, it's the 4th one that you add, F major. Now, if you'd like to take those chords and just run with them now, go through the hymn by yourself and see if you can figure out which chord goes with which note. This is the time to do it. So right now I'm going to go into the theory. Okay, just like last time, I worked up a chart. This is the C major scale, going up a scale. There's no sharps or flats in this scale. Our root chord is the C major chord. The 3 notes, C, E, and G, make up the chord. If you're using the 2nd chord here, the 3 notes are G, B, and D, or as you've worked with the G chord plenty of times before. Optionally, if you're playing G7th, the F is added as well. And again, we have a little bit of a problem here. G belongs to both the C chord and the G chord. So we need to, whenever we see a G note, figure out which chord it sounds best with. Another problem we've got if you're only playing the 2 chords is A is not found in either chord. So again, when we see an A note, we'll have to figure out which chord to use. Now our new chord, if you're using 3 chords, the 3 notes that make up the F chord are F, A, and C. That takes care of the A. The A belongs to the F chord, but now we've got another overlap. The C notes overlap in both chords. When we see a C note, we'll have to figure out which one sounds best. Okay, now some tricks I can show you, some difficulties we may have is, again, remember when you're playing the G chord and you need to play that high D note, move your little finger over and don't play the top string. Okay, you may have to add the A to the G chord again. The A is 3rd string, 2nd fret. Okay. Sometimes you may need to add an F, not F sharp this time, natural F. It's 4th string, 3rd fret. A little easier with the G7th chord. Sometimes on the C, you may need to add that F too. Maybe even the A. Don't play all the strings on that one, or it'll start to sound a little sour at the top. Another problem we're going to have is this song starts and ends on the bass C note, which is the bottom of the C chord. Now, if you're looking for a lower counter melody to play, we really don't have much there. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to play that C all by itself. And don't worry about it. It sounds pretty good with this song. This song smacks to me of being an old lute song. In the year 1613, when this was written, lutes were a very popular instrument. They're similar to the guitar. And I think you'll see as we play this on the guitar, it takes on a whole different character. And if you're playing along, you may even find that it's fun to play. Here's the music for the song. It's in the key of C major, so chances are it's going to have a C chord at the very beginning and at the very end. I put an exclamation point at this chord here just to remind you, you want that to be the second to the last chord, or the song just doesn't sound right. You could try moving it over here, playing the E with your index finger, but it would still be second to the last. And that's good. Now, here we have two G notes. Do we play the C chord or the G7th chord there? I went through it and decided that the C sounded better there, so I didn't change it. Here's an A note. We don't know where to put the A note. But the note right after it is a B. That belongs to the G7th chord, so chances are, yeah, and I tried it. It sounds okay. So let's give it a run through. Okay, I'm strumming up to the melody note here. Again, I can only start with that single note to the next note. G7th, play the A with your index finger. Take it off, play the B. Back to the C chord. Move your little finger over on that G chord to get the D note. Back to C. First and second lines are identical. Bottom two notes of the C chord. You have to move to a G7th chord real quick and use your little finger to play the F. Back to the C chord. Use your index finger to play the A. G7th chord, C. Again with your little finger on the F note to the C. And second to the last, G chord. And single note again. You may have noticed that this hymn in two chords just doesn't sound as good as I Am Trusting Thee, Lord Jesus did. There's two things you can do about that. You could make it more complicated. Of course, we'll be adding that third chord in just a little while here. That'll help. Another thing you could do is make it more simpler. The fewer notes you play, the less chance there is for disharmony. I'm also going to use a simpler way of playing the song. That is the three-finger pick I showed you, starting with the pinch. And again, we'll have to start with that bass note and end, just a single note by itself. For those of you who are playing instruments with fewer strings, you've still got the two notes on the top there, the melody and the counter melody, that'll sound nearly the same as what I'm going to play. A couple of notes here again too. This song is a little weird in that it splits the measures at the beginning and the end of the lines. This is actually the beginning of the measure here. This is where I'm going to pinch. I'm not going to pinch here. That's halfway through the measure. Another thing I did too is I threw in one extra note. I'm going to pinch just once at the beginning of every measure, but on this measure I'm going to pinch twice. I'm going to pinch that C as well. Let's go. We start on the single note. Pinch. Get the A with your index finger. Pinch. Move your little finger over to get that D. You pinch. Use your index finger to get the C and the A. Note by itself. Pinch. Get the D with your little finger again, even though this is a C chord. To play the B, take your little finger off, put it on your index finger, that is, on the A, pinch. Okay, there's just strings 4 and 5 there that we're pinching, and then play the 5th string for the counter melody as well. Now use your little finger to reach the F. A, G is open. Move your index finger over to hit the A. I'm playing the E with my index finger. And then finally the last note by itself. Now here's the 3-chord version of the song that I wrote up. Notice when I'm playing an A, I'm using the F chord now. When I'm playing an F, I'm using the F chord. If you're using the G7th chord, you might be able to put a G7th chord here too, because F belongs to the G7th chord. But I'm not using it in this song, and in the year 1613, I doubt they would have used it either. That measure starting at 17 is the trickiest one. I'm going to play through this with strumming up to the melody note. Start with that single note again. Now I'm going to play it with the boom chick, the melody note, quickly followed by the full chord. I'm also going to put a little challenge to you here. When I get to measure 14, see if there's something that sounds a little funny to you. Not really sour, but maybe something you're just not used to. Now, here's the way I played measure 14. I'll start one note before there. replace that F with a D. Does that sound a little more familiar to you? Okay, now here's a chart of what we've been doing so far. These are major keys on this side. And in the key of G major, we found that the two chords were D7 and C. Okay, today we looked at the C scale and we found out the two chords that went with that were G or G7 and F. I put some more scales up here for you. D seems to be a fairly easy scale to play across a number of instruments. D, A7 is the fifth one up, and G are the chords you would use there. I put a hymn down below in the notes in the key of D, and you can try and figure out those three chords that go with that hymn. I know that my Redeemer lives. Try it yourself first, try it by ear, try it using this chart, and then look at the answers, right? I also put the key of F down here. Yeah, I knew an auto harpist. Whenever he was playing along with guitar players, he would play in the key of F just to watch them squirm. Yeah, F is a difficult key to play on a guitar. I put E flat down here too, because E flat is used a lot in the Lutheran hymnal. It doesn't seem to be too hard for you keyboard players, but it's murder on people who play the guitar. Keep that in mind, please, if you're playing along with someone who's playing a guitar. It helps if we do something about the key. Change the key. I'll show you how to do things like that in the future. Besides the hymn in the key of D that I put down in the notes below, I put another hymn in the key of C. It happens to be the very first hymn in the hymnal. There aren't too many hymns in the hymnal in the key of C, and I think that was too easy for somebody. But you work on it. There's a more advanced version down there too. Now, how did I know to use a D chord instead of an F chord in measure 14 in that one hymn? I'll show you how to figure that out next time. And thank you for watching this time.